Hey everyone, Bradley tuning in, coming at you with another video, and today I want to talk about condos. Condos are up 9% year over year, but that's not the subject we're discussing today. The real question is how long will this last? And I think it's going to end sooner than you think. And I want to get into why that is and when we can expect this to happen. But before I get started, my name is Bradley Watson. We do these videos every week, keep you up to date in the latest tips and tricks here in the GTA real estate market. And today I'm actually standing in one of my favorite places because back when I worked in corporate, this was a place that I was very tranquil, very beautiful. Now I know I'm walking down an alleyway right here, but for those of you who know this area, it's absolutely beautiful gardens and just surrounded with buildings, and I love it. And if you know where I'm standing, put that down in the comments below. And let's jump into condos. Developers traditionally have asked down payments to be paid in less than 6 months from purchasing that home, but we're actually finding that they're being a little more lax on that they're allowing people to have a little more time. But why is that? Maybe they know something that we don't know, and I would argue that that is in fact the case. If we look at what's been going on in the condo market recently, we've seen that 11% decrease. We're going to go into actually a really nice garden, which I'll show you in a second. But what we've seen is an 11% decrease in the number of new listings, as well as sales are actually down almost 30%. So there's some crazy stuff going on right now. And with all of this, I actually did a video last year in October talking about how the condo market would slow down. That video is called How Long Can Condos Accelerate in Toronto. Check that video out. But the summary of it is that we said that it would end later this year in the fall, between then and early spring 2019. And that was my prediction, and I still stand behind that, and you can check that video out as to why. But on top of that, I recently watched the chief economist of CIBC speaking on this very subject, and he took it from a very different angle that I really liked, and he spoke from the perspective of an investor. Now, investors in Toronto, if we look at those guys, they're putting on average 20% down on a property. On top of that, 3/4 of that is from traditional lenders, which are now all impacted by CMHC and the stricter guidelines that we've seen roll out in the last few months. So all of this, the major issue is this. If we look at just what kind of money these guys are making, what's their return? They're actually looking at 44.3% of these guys, these investors specifically, are running a negative cash flow. That's almost half. That means that almost half of the investors in the Toronto condo space in these apartments are making negative money, meaning they're losing money every month. So the question is this: why would you invest in something that you're losing money? And Benjamin Tal, this chief economist, his perspective is that things will slow down between the next year to 2 years. So I would agree with that. We're starting to see things are going to slow down. You're not going to see these 9%. In fact, earlier this year, we saw 25% growth rates year over year. We're not going to see that anymore. Instead, the reason people are doing this is because they're not worried about the short term. They're not worried about these cash flows. What will happen is as people become awake to this and they start to see that this is happening, many people will list their homes. Supply will increase because there really isn't cash flow in these condos. So if things start to slow down, which we're already seeing, people could just back away from them. However, in the long term, as with the low rise, which we've also seen taking a hit recently, in the long term, all of these segments are going to do very well simply because of supply. Supply is a crisis in the Greater Toronto area, and with that, I'm going to leave the video here. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the GTA real estate market in the next few years, and I'm going to take off. I'll see you guys next week with more tips and tricks. Take care and keep it real.